What's up guys, today we're going to be talking about the ProMist filters and I'm going to be showing you a photo shoot I recently did with this filter on my camera to show you guys the type of images that it creates. So let's jump right into it. Welcome back guys. So what is a ProMist filter? Well, a ProMist filter helps a camera to soften the image, and you see the biggest difference on the image quality when you're shooting against highlights, because it kind of rolls over the highlights, it like softens them, hazes them, and it just looks very nice. It kind of gives sort of like a film look, but it just looks very nice. And I actually ended up buying one of these because I was watching a lot of Danny Gervitz and Mark Bone, and they're both amazing filmmakers that create beautiful images with these filters. So let's jump right into the shoot and go over some of the photos that I shot so we can kind of talk more about these filters. Alright guys, so I shot these photos with the Tamron 2875 and my Sony a7 III guys. This first photo, I actually shot it without the ProMist. I just wanted to give you guys something to compare to so you could see the big difference. So I did a very minimal editing on the colors on these, fairly similar on all of them I want to say, but pay a lot of attention to the contrast and the highlights, because that's where it really does its effect on the images. So I shot these with my friend Noemi, hit her up, we went to Mount Helix, a pretty cool spot here in San Diego. So right here in these next two shots, on the left side, again, that is without the ProMist, and on the right side, that is with the ProMist on. And look at those highlights. Like, you can see the rollover of the highlights. Like, it starts to color her arm completely, whereas on the left photo you kind of see it touching the arm, but it doesn't blend into the colors. And it seems like that's what the ProMist does. It just blends the highlights, smoothens them out, kind of like feathers them, and it makes a really cool film look, like hazing the image wherever there's highlights. Also the contrast, it's not as contrasty, so it loses the contrast, I think, in order to create that haziness. Again, this is the 1/8, so there's a 1/2, a 1/4, and a 1/8, and I believe mine is one of the strongest ones that I got, so it's a pretty big difference. Here's that image. Again, the highlights. I'm loving these ProMist. I've been filming some stuff with them, and I've been experimenting with some film lenses, which is another video I will be making pretty soon, so stay tuned. Okay, this next shot, I did more of a wider shot. I will mention it was a foggy day, so don't think it's gonna fog it all up. It was a foggy sunset, but the highlights though, I showed you what it looked without the ProMist, so you don't call me a liar or don't think I'm making this stuff up. It really enhances the way the highlights look, and it like blooms them. Like, I think if you guys have seen that Moment advertisement for their new ProMist, they're all ProMist guys. I don't know how much theirs are. Peter McKinnon I think came out with his own. They're all ProMist. They're gonna get the same job done. I just went with the Tiffen. I've been seeing a lot of Danny Gervitz, Mark Bone, who talk about using the ProMist to soften the look in the images. So if you guys pick one up, any of them, I'll link one down below. So this wide shot, again, I loved how the sun came out. The highlights look freaking beautiful. So here we decided to shoot the other way, so not with the sun in the image. The sun was already a little bit lower, I will say, so it wasn't hitting her face as much. It was fairly soft light for the most part. I don't think you really get that much of an effect of the filter unless you're shooting towards the sun or there's some form of a light in the background where it will haze it out. I think that's where the filters really kick in. I like this image. I like the effect it did on it. Again, very minimal effect because the sun is not in the image. I just thought it was an interesting shot here. Soft contrast, soft highlights, pretty soft image, but it's showing a little bit more details, I feel like, on the rocks or so, but still getting closer to that film look. Now here's where we really see the magic of these ProMist filters. So the sun is behind us, and I want to say that that bottom bokeh that's on the image, that is a sun flare. I think that's how drastically the ProMist affected the sun flares, because in the first image I showed you, let me go back to that one so you guys can see that. The second image I showed you, you can see the actual flare. Like, you can definitely tell that is a flare that is coming into the image, and some people like it, some people don't. I like them. this personally, I didn't really like this flare as much, but on this shot, you can see how it really softened it. And I'm very confident that that's a flare because the sun is right behind her, completely hazed out, but there's no lights. I mean, unless that was a reflection, but I don't know how it can create that form of a bokeh. So I wanna put my money on saying that that is an actual flare. And that is only because of the ProMist. That's how drastically it hazed that flare. But the biggest takeaway, again, look at what it does to the skin tones when we're shooting towards the sun. It just hazes that golden light, that golden tone into the skin, and I'm in love with that right now. Now this shot, again, remember like I said, that must have been a flare. Look at what it did to the bottom part of her leg. You can see the flare forming, but it's not very contrasty. Like in the first flare without the ProMist, you can see it's not as contrasty as that. So it hazed the flare that got created in this image. And again, look, the sun is literally right in the image, so you can see what it did to the highlights. All right guys, so I got a pro tip for you guys. I ended up buying a 77mm ProMist filter because for me, my biggest lenses that I use for filmmaking go up to about 70, 77 around there. So I use the step rings to go steps down into my other lenses in case I need to use my other lens and I want the ProMist filter. This way you're not buying 3, 2, 4 ProMist because they are expensive. So get the step up rings. I'll be linking them down in the description. I'll be linking the ProMist filter as well. They're affiliate links. If you buy them, I get a kick and I really appreciate it, guys. Now I want to mention I still have my prints up for sale. If you guys want to grab one, make sure you get it before they're gone. This is the first print run I'm doing, so we'll see how that runs. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Subscribe if you found this interesting, learn something new, like this video, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.